we just did a tour yesterday on all the pump stations, and there's problems. So, I mean, even though it does look nice, and I'm glad it does, and we're going to have to cut the levees earlier this year and help, we're going to help cut with the folks in Munster, Ham, and Highland, and we're going to do the Gary section. That we still got issues, and we're still working on the problems.
What do you mean cut?
Just cut it down. We want people to
Mow.
Mow. Is that a region term?
I think cut like you're going to cut a new levee.
No.
All right, go ahead.
We're going to mow the levee. And so that people can enjoy it, walk it, and then ultimately help us report any problems that they may see out there as far as, damage, blockages. We're just a two-person operation, and we're trying to work to see how we can fix it and then make sure we keep an eye on it with as few people as we have.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think about beavers?
There's a lot of them. And they're tormenting me, and we're happy to have a couple people that help relocate them. But I know actually...
can you kill them?
You can. Mm-hmm. It's considered... There's a nuisance permit where you can... You have to tell DNR what you plan on doing with them. You can trap them or kill them or release them someplace else.
Shoot them?
That's a possibility. Snare them.
Snare them and then kill them.
Yep. Or by the snare that would kill them.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about just like bad stuff right now.
Because they're everywhere, man.
They are.
$8 million coming, right?
In 2013.
But you can loan against it, right?
We are building a sheet, a flow sheet, cash balance, so that we can make sure that we're actually timing our money appropriately and not borrowing too much. And thank you for the green tea or whatever you're drinking there. So we're making sure that we can get some projects done during this construction cycle and not waste this season. Even though the money's not coming until next year, we believe we can get some money and do some construction. One of them is Marshalltown, is one of the projects we're targeting, which we were out there yesterday. The other one is Burr Street, which is between basically the Griffith Golf Course going to Burr Street, which is another important area.
How do you get to that by around the trail? Is there a map somewhere?
That's one of the weak parts of the trail, that we have no trail that goes through, but they want to put one in, and we're trying to figure out, or the Army Corps is trying to figure out how to get from Klein Avenue underneath the railroad tracks. And now we've had some suggestions on how to do that, and so they're working on it, but right now that's not the #1 priority.
So and I've often wondered that, because you take the trail and then you cross Klein Avenue and it just kind of fizzles out there. So there's no way to go pick up the trail through Gary, which is a really nice trail. So what do you got to do? You got to go all the way around and go down Ridge Road and then come up Burr Street to pick it up?
Correct.
Ah.
And the difficult part is you're getting an easement across a railroad track. I mean, and it's not, railroad tracks, #1, are difficult to deal with. #2, the liability there, certainly not a lawyer like any of the previous callers, but, you're allowing them to cross over railroad tracks in a bike trail, it's difficult. And if there was an existing road that would do that, that would be a much better situation.
So you want to go under the tracks?
Under are going to be over.
If you don't want people crossing, and those trains, there's a lot of trains on those tracks, right?
Yes, and I was out there on those tracks one time earlier this winter, and me and Conservation Mike said, hey, that train looks like it's coming pretty quick, and we both sort of laughed it off, and then it was really coming quick, and we made it down to a safe location before it came through. So.
Oh, you were on the bridge?
Yep.
I don't know if
that was safe. Yes,
that was a very good idea.
Yeah, thanks. Sometimes you have to get to certain locations that it isn't accessible, and we had to do that.
So going on a railroad bridge when a train's coming and saying, "Don't worry, we got time. Let's take one last picture."
We weren't taking pictures.
Okay.
We were investigating certain things.
You're looking for things,
right?
And making sure the water's flowing.
Correct. And we were the light on the train, it's alternating. We're looking back and like, that's pretty far away. They usually slow down around here. We got double time moving. Once we get it fully ready and prepared to be protected, the residents, and then we work with the other communities upstream, You know, I was talking to an official in Crown Point. They're looking at working on detention areas and retention areas. Dyer's doing the same thing. So I think once you get rid of or get away from the possibility of it flooding, when you really address the overall flood management system, I think you will see little. I mean, it is great. It is amazing what you do see out there. I have another tour. I'm giving a tour to a bunch of folks this morning at 9.
Who's that?
Just residents, people that have called, interested parties, I don't want to say environmentalists, but people that want to know more about the river. And I said, fine, I'm going with a couple people, so we're just going to go in my car. And it helps.
Do you give like Boy Scout tours and Girl
No.
Scout tours?
I give tours because it ultimately helps me, because I ultimately get to go on the river and check to see if there's any problems. So if I do it once every 2 weeks, it helps me identify any problems that have occurred since the last time I've done it. Because I have to go on the river anyways, so if I take some people with me, it's just easier, and it helps me because they ask me questions that maybe I've never answered before.
You know, the one time, Dan, you got a van from Jeff Williams.
Yes.
Where I don't know where.
He's at Marcus.
Marcus Rental, right?
Right.
And it's this massive van, and I don't know, there must have only been 5 of us, I think. It was supposed to be 10, and only 5 people showed up. And this massive van, and Dan was driving it down the banks of the Little Cal, which are pretty steep on sometimes, and the road is only
They're 10-foot wide tops.
and in some areas it's not fully 10 foot wide, I'm sorry.
Right.
And it was a little bit, I got a little bit verklempt.
Well, especially when you're on a van, you're up that high. But I'm not doing the 10-foot van. I'm just doing my car. And so yeah, it's tight in some locations, and certain areas you have to maneuver through. But it's educational to me, and it helps them too.